You know that feeling when you wake up at 3 a.m. and your whole body is on fire?
This heat wave brought us together, and we understand each other better.
We're more connected now, still imperfect, but growing.
And this glow is our journey.
You know that feeling when you wake up at 3 a.m. and your whole body is on fire, and you lie there, sheets on the floor, window open in January? Probably not. You'll tell yourself it's the wine, or the stress, or the room. You'll tell yourself that for about 4 more years, if nobody stops you.
We enter the body, the interior world, warm, amber, cathedral-like. The ovaries pulse gently with amber light. Hormone streams flow peacefully. Hello, I've been trying to get your attention for a while now. You've been blaming the wine, the stress, the room temperature. I want to be clear, some of it is the wine, but a lot of it is me. And I have things I need to tell you. I am your body. I'm 43 years old, or 47, or 51, or 39.
And something is happening inside me that most people either don't know about and don't say. Today, we're going to say it. All of it.
The calculation process, you know what I mean? Chuckles, you know what I mean?
I was 38. I thought I was early onset Alzheimer's, or a stroke, or I was just tired. I'm always tired.
Here is the thing nobody shows you. This transition, it doesn't start at 51. It doesn't start at menopause. It starts here. For many women, the first whispers of hormonal change begin in the mid to late 30s. Estrogen starts its long, irregular, slow-motion exit. The average age of menopause is 51. But perimenopause, the transition period, begins an average of 4 to 10 years earlier, and can start as early as...
We meet Diana animated in her yoga studio 39, teaching a class, mid-warrior pose, and then a hot flash, not subtle, full-body, face-reddening, dripping heat.
It's okay, Class, just breathe through it.
Okay, and hold the, okay, everyone just breathe. I thought I was sick. I went to 3 doctors. They tested my thyroid, they tested my cortisol, they tested my heart, they told me I was anxious, they gave me antidepressants, I took them for 6 months, the hot flashes continued. Nobody, not one person, said the word perimenopause. I was 39. Apparently that was too young for anyone to think to say it.
We see Diana's doctors as animated figures, warm, not villainous, but reaching for the wrong drawer. Let's check your records.
You're very young for it, but let's run some more tests.
I suggest therapy.
She is not too young. In studies of 31,000 women, early perimenopause affects up to 10% of women before the age of 45. But because the medical literature anchors menopause to age 51, her symptoms went unnamed for almost 3 years. Up to 10% of women express around 9.4% of women. Symptoms are identical regardless of age, but diagnosis is often delayed in younger women precisely because of age-based assumptions.
We enter the body's world as the hormone levels begin their erratic dance. The amber estrogen stream will fare well. It doesn't just affect your periods. I need you to understand receptors in your brain, estrogen in your bones, estrogen joins. When estrogen fluctuates, every system that hosts its receptors feels the signal disruption. We see in the body interior, heart chamber changing rhythm, bone structure visible, skin layer shifting, bladder, eyes once. That is not many things happening. That is one thing. Estrogen's fluctuating withdrawal from over 400 receptor sites simultaneously. Estrogen receptors have been identified in over 400 tissue sites in the human body. This is why perimenopause and menopause produce such a wide, multi-system symptom landscape. In the hot flashes panel, the heat rising through her like a second sun. She smiles through it. The animation shows the body interior, the hypothalamus, shown as a tiny confused weather station, sending incorrect heat signals. My thermostat has been hacked by falling estrogen.
Sleep. Claire at 2 a.m., lying rigid and awake, completely unable to locate unconsciousness. Her brain city is lit up like it's noon. Low progesterone, the body says. My natural sedative has been withdrawn. Out. Maya again, reaching for a word that has left her brain like a bird leaving a window. The brain city shows a section where the lights have gone out. Not permanently, but dimming. Estrogen also your brain's primary anti-inflammatory. When it drops, cognitive function changes. This is not you losing your mind. This is your brain under construction.
Heart palpitations. Diana on her sofa, feeling her heart race for 17 seconds with no apparent cause. The heart chamber in the body interior shows estrogen's role in cardiac rhythm regulation suddenly absent. Your heart has estrogen receptors, the body says. When they lose their signal, they improvise. Sometimes dramatically. I have been an architect for 23 years. I have never not once made an error of that kind in a client presentation. I went home, I sat in my car in the car park for 40 minutes, and I thought I am not a safe professional anymore. What has happened? We see, in the body interior, the brain city under the stress of both sleep deprivation from night sweats and estrogen-related cognitive changes. Some neural pathways are slower, some are rerouting. The city is functional but under construction. I went to my GP. I told him my cognitive function had deteriorated. He tested me for early dementia. I tested negative. He suggested I was working too hard.
2/3 of women going through perimenopause report problems with memory and concentration. Studies show that estrogen plays a direct role in verbal memory, executive function, and processing speed. Not permanently, but significantly. The woman was not failing. Her neurochemistry was being restructured. She needed information and support. She received neither. Research from the University of Rochester confirms that estrogen is neuroprotective. It reduces inflammation in the brain, supports dopamine and serotonin production, and is involved in acetylcholine pathways that govern memory and attention. Its fluctuation during perimenopause produces cognitive symptoms that often mirror ADHD. These are temporary and treatable, but only if diagnosed.
The full symptom landscape, medical dismissal, mental health, the rage, the invisible crisis. Let's talk about the things that don't make it onto the NHS leaflet or the pharmacy pamphlet. The things women find out about from each other at 11 p.m. in comment sections, in whispers, because no doctor thought to mention them.
Joint pain. Suki, practicing kendo, her hobby, suddenly wincing, her knuckles, her knees, her jaw, all simultaneously inflamed. She cannot explain this to her doctor. She cannot explain this to herself. I thought I had developed rheumatoid arthritis, or lupus. The pain moved. It was my knees one week, my hands the next, my jaw, which I had not even known could be related. Nobody told me estrogen is an anti-inflammatory. When it falls, inflammation rises. The pain is real. It is connected. It has a name. 50% of perimenopausal women report joint pain. Estrogen has documented anti-inflammatory properties. Estrogen receptors in synovial joint tissue mean that when estrogen fluctuates, inflammation increases. The moving, migratory nature of the pain, different joints on different days, is characteristic and often misdiagnosed as other autoimmune conditions. Anna again, palpitations that make her think she is having a cardiac event. Shown from inside, the heart's estrogen receptors suddenly losing their signal, the heart improvising its rhythm. I called an ambulance. Twice. Both times my heart was technically fine. Both times they said it was a panic attack. I know what a panic attack feels like. This was different. But I stopped arguing after a while. Because what do you do when the experts tell you what you felt? Zigzagging hormone levels can cause heart rate to spike by up to 16 extra beats per minute. This is not a panic attack. This is estrogen's role in cardiac regulation temporarily disrupted. It is real. The bladder, the symptom nobody discusses. Maya, in a work presentation, aware that she needs the bathroom with an urgency that cannot wait. This one, I couldn't talk about this one for 2 years. Even here, I'm doing a little laugh to protect myself from the embarrassment. But okay, the bladder thing. The leaking when you sneeze, the urgency that gives you maybe 45 seconds and not a second more. This is real. This happens to almost half of us. And I wore dark colors for 8 months before I found out there are actual treatments.
The urethral tissue and bladder both have estrogen receptors. As estrogen declines, these tissues thin and lose elasticity. Urinary symptoms, urgency, frequency, stress incontinence are experienced by over 40% of women in perimenopause. These are treatable, but only if discussed. And most women would rather suffer in silence than say the word leaking out loud.
I need to stop here. Because this part is the part that has sent women to psychiatric wards unnecessarily. This is the part where the silence becomes dangerous. The rage. In her kitchen, her teenage son has left his shoes in the doorway. She feels a wave of anger so disproportionate it frightens her. She goes to the bathroom, closes the door, sits on the edge of the tub. I frighten myself. I have never been an angry person. Impatient, yes. Yes. Stressed, yes, but this is from somewhere different. Estrogen is deeply involved in the regulation of serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters that govern emotional stability, impulse regulation, and mood. When estrogen drops suddenly, serotonin can drop with it. In clinical terms, your brain's mood regulation system is going through a refit. The rage is real, it is physiological, it is not your personality, it is a signal. Confirms that perimenopausal irritability and rage episodes are directly linked to estrogen's role in serotonin synthesis and reuptake.
The symptom is physiological.
The body, not psychological, in origin, though it has psychological consequences. Misdiagnosis as personality disorder or bipolar disorder has been documented in clinical literature. Claire the anxiety. At night, lying awake, her mind running catastrophic thoughts on a loop about her career, her marriage, her health, her future. She has never been an anxious person. After dark. I was prescribed antidepressants by my second doctor. Anxiety disorder, they said. I was given an SSRI and a CBT referral. The SSRI did not help, because the anxiety was not a psychological condition. It was a hormonal withdrawal symptom wearing anxiety's clothes. Suki, the depression. Sitting by a window, her kendo equipment untouched in the corner. She has stopped doing the things she loves. Her family doesn't understand. She can barely explain it herself. You continue, you maintain, you don't burden others with your body's changes. My mother never spoke of it. I assumed she was fine. I assumed I would be fine. I sat by that window for 4 months before my Australian friend, not Japanese, I didn't even know what the word meant. A 2025 survey of 13,800 workers across 6 countries confirmed that 1 in 12 women felt discriminated against at work due to menopause.
88% of Black women and disproportionate numbers of East Asian women report receiving no menopause education at any point in their lives. Cultural silence around menopause is documented across multiple ethnic communities and is associated with worse health outcomes, delayed diagnosis.
I said, I have brain fog that is affecting my job. I have heart palpitations at random times. I have rage episodes that are unlike anything in my personality history. I have night sweats 3 nights a week. I have joint pain in rotating locations. I have a bladder that gives me 45 seconds warning. I have not slept through the night in 8 months. I have anxiety that starts at approximately 11 p.m. every night and continues until 3 a.m. I have lost words mid-sentence 4 times this week. I am 43 years old and I do not recognize myself.
You're only 43, and your periods are still regular, yes? So it's quite unlikely to be, but I'll run some bloods. In the meantime, I think we should talk about stress management. Have you considered speaking to someone, a therapist?
She has been trying to tell you for 8 months. We have been trying to tell her for 2 years. And we are watching you send her back out into a world that cannot explain her, with a blood test form and a therapy referral, both of which will come back normal. Because you didn't test the right things. Because blood tests for perimenopause are frequently inconclusive. Because menopause education receives, on average, just over an hour of training time in most UK and US medical schools. A cross-sectional study published in Menopause Journal found that the vast majority of
U.S. obstetrics and gynecology residency programs provide insufficient menopause training, often 1 hour or less. This means the doctor dismissing Maya is not negligent, they are undertrained. The system has failed the patient by failing the doctor first. In 2026, this remains the dominant reality for most women seeking perimenopause care.
He said stress. Again. He said stress and therapy, and I need to... Ruthie, I need to know I'm not going mad.
You are not going mad. You have never been more sane in your life, because your body is finally telling the truth and you are finally listening.
Now, can I tell you some things?
Ruth, now 55, tells her story from the past, when she was at her lowest. We see her younger self at 49, in her worst period. Black women, the research shows, have the most severe menopause symptoms, the longest duration, and the least access to informed medical care.
I want to tell you something that I have not said on camera before. At 51, in the middle of my menopause, I had thoughts that frightened me. Not action thoughts, but the kind of thoughts where you lie in the dark and you think, I would not mind if I just stopped, because I was so exhausted, and so unrecognized, and so certain that this, whatever this was, would never end. I later found out that perimenopausal and menopausal women have a documented elevated rate of suicidal ideation. I found this out from a research paper, not from a doctor. Nobody told me that what I was experiencing, that specific darkness, was a recognized symptom of hormonal transition, and that it was treatable. It has a treatment. You are not failing. You are in a biological crisis that nobody has adequately described to you. It has a name, and it does not end like this.
A 2025 study published in Menopause Journal confirmed elevated rates of suicidal ideation in perimenopausal women, with the highest rates during the late perimenopause transition phase.
Black women experience the most severe vasomotor symptoms, the longest transition duration, and are disproportionately undertreated. Recognizing the hormonal component of perimenopausal depression and suicidal ideation is a clinical imperative.
Here is what is actually happening. I want to show you, because nobody has shown you properly. And if you understand it, truly see it, you will never again accept being told it is just stress. In youth, they pulse with steady, reliable light, releasing eggs on a regular cycle, producing estrogen and progesterone in a pattern the body systems have built their operations around. From my brain's neurotransmitters to my skin's collagen to my bone's density, this is not just about reproduction. This was my body's primary maintenance system. Progesterone goes first. This is important. Progesterone is my natural sedative, my anxiety reducer, my uterine lining manager. When it drops before estrogen does, many women experience worsened PMS, heavier periods, sleep disruption, and increased anxiety. For years, before the hot flashes, before anyone says the word menopause.
In Japanese culture, the word for menopause is konenki. It carries connotations of renewal. But in practice, my family, in my mother's generation, it was discussed by not discussing it. You continued, you maintained, you did not burden others.
In many West African and Caribbean families, the body and its changes are simply not spoken of between generations. My mother and I have never, not once, discussed her menopause. I don't know what she went through. She doesn't know what I'm going through. That gap is not because we don't love each other. It's because nobody gave us the language. In my family, the women are strong. You don't complain. There is a specific kind of Latina strength that I was raised inside, and I love it, genuinely. But it also meant, when something was wrong with my body, I assumed it meant I was weak, that I was failing at being strong. I was not failing. I was being failed.
And for Black women, the data is very clear and very unfair. We experience the most severe hot flashes, the longest transition, the highest rates of cardiovascular risk during this period. And we receive, statistically, the least adequate medical care and the least menopause-specific support. That is not incidental. That is a systemic outcome. Let's talk about the rage, not the irritability, not the short temper, the actual, full-bodied, white-knuckle, I am going to say the thing I have never said rage. Because it is the most reported and least discussed of all the symptoms. And because it is, in fact, the most interesting one. We see Maya. In her kitchen, her teenage son has left dishes, again. Her husband has been meaning to fix the broken cabinet for 3 months. Her boss has given her work over a weekend, again.
None of these are new. She has absorbed all of them, with grace, for years. Today, she doesn't absorb it. She says, calmly but with absolute clarity, exactly what she thinks. To her son, to her husband, to her boss by each boundary, precise, non-negotiable, delivered without apology, for the first time.
My husband thought I'd had a breakdown. I thought for about 48 hours that maybe I had. And then I talked to Ruth. And Ruth said something that I will carry for the rest of my life. Maya, your body has been carrying 30 years of absorbed, unspoken, accommodated things. And now, the hormonal changes mean you can no longer perform the tolerance you were never actually okay with. The rage is not madness. The rage is information. It is your body saying, we have limits. They were always there. You are only now allowed to feel them.
Psychologists studying perimenopausal women have documented a specific phenomenon. The transition frequently coincides with a reduction in women's tolerance for situations they had previously accommodated due to socialized compliance, relationship dynamics, or simple exhaustion. The hormonal changes that reduce the brain's emotional smoothing capacity also reduce the capacity to suppress legitimate grievances. In clinical terms, you stop performing. What emerges is not a problem, it is clarity.
The deepest question. Beyond symptoms, beyond treatments, who are you becoming?
There is a grief. I want to name it because I think women are not allowed to grieve it. The loss of fertility, even if you never wanted more children. There is a grief. I want to name it. Not a life means something, even if it also means freedom. The grief and the relief can coexist. I'm learning to let them.
I cried for 2 days when I fully understood what early perimenopause at 39 meant.
I had not decided whether I wanted children yet. And suddenly, the timeline changed. That grief is real, and nobody told me I was allowed to feel it.
I have been many things: a daughter, a wife, a mother, a professional, a person whose body worked in a certain way for 3 decades. I am still all of those things. The first time in my life I have permission from my own body, which is forcing the negotiation, to ask, what do I actually want? Not what is expected. What do I want? I started a business at 44, in the middle of perimenopause, while sweating through presentations, with brain fog and joint pain and a bladder that had opinions. I started it because, and I have thought about this, I think the hormonal clarity, the dropping away of social smoothing. I need to tell you something that I wish someone had told me at my lowest point. Something the research actually says that the cultural narrative around menopause never mentions. Are you ready? I am 55. I sleep better now than I have since my 20s. My joint pain, which was treated, has significantly reduced. My cognitive clarity, which I thought found a different expression. My creativity is at its highest level of my career. My sense of what I will and will not do, crystal clear. My relationships, the ones that survive the transition. After the transition, after the storm, the ovaries find their new operating level, not the same as before. Different, lower estrogen, yes, but stable, predictable, and something shifts them. Show that many women report their best decade after menopause. Freed from the hormonal turbulence of reproduction, freed from pregnancy anxiety, freed from the monthly cycle. And with the neurological clarity of a stable estrogen baseline, women post-menopause frequently report improved well-being, creativity, confidence, and relationship satisfaction.
This is the ending that nobody told them about. A University of Melbourne study found women aged 45 to 65 reported increased well-being, along with higher relationship satisfaction and greater sexual confidence. And creative output significantly improved post-menopause for women who had received adequate support during their transition. Women who remained undertreated and unsupported during the transition had worse post-menopause outcomes. The conclusion: the transition is survivable with support. What follows it, for many women, is
So, the toolkit, because we're not leaving without one. Track your symptoms, everything, even the embarrassing ones. For 12 weeks, date, time, severity, and patterns will emerge. Exactly, that's the key. Bring it to every doctor's appointment. Don't minimize it. Don't apologize for it. The list is your evidence. Find a menopause-trained clinician, not just any GP. What is your training in perimenopause? You are allowed to ask. You are allowed to change doctors. Tell one person, a sister, a partner, a doctor, and say the word out loud. I was in this alone for 4 years. I did not need to be. The silence cost me more than any symptom. Read The New Perimenopause by Dr. Mary Chin Matters. Your GP is not your only resource. The research and books exist. The online communities, some of them are genuinely excellent. Find your information sources, but check them. Peer-reviewed, medically reviewed, who is selling something? Be discerning. And this, the most important of all, you are not too old or too dramatic or too sensitive. You are a human being experiencing a major biological transition that has been systematically under-researched, under-discussed, under-treated, and culturally erased. The problem is not you. The problem is what was withheld from you, and now you know. So, what will you do with it? I have been trying to tell you for years, not to frighten you, not to diminish you, to prepare you, to show you that the fire is not your enemy. It is a transition, restructuring itself for the next chapter. It is uncomfortable and under-discussed, and frequently mismanaged by the systems that should support it. But it is not the end. You are not too old. You are not invisible. You are not just stressed. You are a woman in transition. And transition, by definition, goes somewhere. The question is only whether you go there informed or alone in the dark. Know where you are. Know what is happening. Find your people. Tell the truth. This fire, it has always been yours.